I'd like to bring to order the council meeting for October the 8th, 2018. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Merrill.
Present.
Mr. Steigel.
Present.
Mr. Arcuri.
Here.
Mr. Berquist.
Here.
Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Ball.
Present.
Mr. Kozer.
Here.
Will we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the council meeting held September 24th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Anybody have any comments, additions, deletions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is 7-0. Next, special reports, and we have some this meeting.
Yes, 2 Saturdays ago, September 29th, was the annual open house for our fire department. It's their kickoff for Fire Prevention Month that goes on all October. About 600 people are estimated to have attended the open house this year. It's a great opportunity for our residents to get some fire education in fire prevention, demonstrations in fire suppression, as you can see, as well as get an opportunity to meet the staff at the fire department and see some of the equipment they use. I really have to thank the Public Works Department this year. Given the ongoing renovations at Station Number 1, they were instrumental Friday in making sure everything was ready to go for the event on the 29th. So
All right.
it's always a great event.
So, that's a nice attendance, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Next item would be the rec center gym floor and library carpet completions.
Yeah, so 2 of our most visible capital projects this year at 2 of our most patronized facilities were recently completed in the past few weeks. The first that you see before you, the Youth Services Department of the library was recarpeted. I have to give a lot of credit to Steinberger Floors, the contractor, and also the library staff with Myra Olenek, the director, and Shannon Pauley, the youth service head. They work collaboratively. Steinberger Floors would come in overnight, and then in the next morning, the library staff would lay out the design they wanted for the carpet for the following evening. So really, they did a phenomenal job. I'm not a carpet connoisseur by any stretch of the imagination.
Nice.
I got to tell you, they did a really good job.
Now, those are sections, so they could
They're
just,
tile,
if something
yes.
happens to one, they can just rip that up. And
Yes, that's correct.
Sounds good.
The other project, the refinishing of the gym floor at the Community Recreation Center was recently completed by S&S Floors. This one, I got to give a lot of thanks to the staff at the library, but also the patience of our patrons of the CRC while this project was going on. It was a pretty impactful project, but the end result is pretty impressive. I'd encourage any council members to visit both of these facilities and see the work that was done.
So we had to cancel Jazzercise.
We also found out that the sawdust-free duster is not so sawdust-free.
All right. Next item on the agenda is audience comments. This is limited to a 5-minute opportunity for all those in the audience that would like to come up and state their case. And seeing that no one is rushing to the podium, we can move on to the next item, which is unfinished business, and there is none. Next is new business, and first item is resolution authorizing the distribution of state aid for pensions. This is, I think, an annual.
Yes, that's correct.
This should have been a consent matter, but I'll move that we approve resolution 10-01-18 and allocate $440,332.52 in state aid to Peters Township Police Pension Program.
Second.
Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. 7-0. Next, the ongoing synthetic turf project at the field number 2.
Based on the bids and the manager's recommendation, I'll make a motion that we reject the bids received for the Field Number 2 project and direct the township manager to rebid the project.
Second.
All right. Anyone have any other questions or comments? I guess, Mark, there's some ways we might be able to reduce this?
We think so, yeah. We think
Okay. Perfect.
timing and scope can be modified
Yeah,
somewhat.
it seemed it was significantly above the
Yeah, one of the
anticipated
problems
cost.
with this field is that it's, when you create a field from scratch, you crown it, you put it at certain elevations. This field's been there for like 50 years, so there's no defined, rhyme or reason to how it was constructed. So we tried to lay it out in a manner that made sense.
Okay. All right.
It just creates some difficulties with having to redo some of the outfield and stuff. So we're going to relook at that over the winter. And we got concurrence from baseball, too. They agree with that recommendation.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That is also 7-0. I think we're going to appoint tonight. Next item is appointment to the Peters Township Sanitary Authority Board.
I'd like to move to appoint Mr. John Banazar to the open seat on the Peters Township Sanitary Authority.
Second.
Do we know what those term durations are?
Yeah, the term expires December 31st of 2020.
Okay. Any other comments?
Just that we should thank Mr. Kroll for his service. He was a very
Good point.
integral member of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, well said. All right. We have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That would also be 7-0. Payroll and bills is next.
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed the payroll and bills. I find them to be in order. I make a motion that we approve the same.
Second.
Anybody have any comments on payroll and bills?
I just had a question. I saw we were paying Freedom Enterprises for the firehouse. I really thought that project was to be done. I thought it was to be done for the open house. Where are we with the progress there?
Yeah, we actually just had a construction status meeting on Friday, and a punch list was drawn up. We're working through that. The project we're hoping will be completed before the end of this month.
They were kind enough, we were able to take a tour on
Yeah.
it, and I did, and there was a lot on the punch list.
There is, they're getting more, the subcontractors have been busier this week, or will be busier this week, I should say, and the past week. So I'm pretty hopeful the project will be done before the end of this month.
So what's the remainder due to them?
What's that? The remainder due to them, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000, I believe. Yes.
We
Yeah.
didn't do liquidated damages.
Not yet. The project, they still have, I believe, and I'd have to check this and I can get back to you, I believe it's mid-November they actually have to complete it, but they were hopeful they'd be completed by the end of September.
Well, I hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the information.
No problem.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That's also 7-0. Now, on to correspondence. We have a letter from Yvonne Plute, Range Resources, to Peters Township, dated September 27, 2018, concerning an application to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection for a gas well pad at 400 Patterson Road, 84 PA, in Nottingham Township. Anything that we need to know about that?
No, just a simple notification from,
So where exactly would that be?
it's south of, it's south, it's
Patterson.
Patterson's in 84.
136.
Quite a ways.
So it's pretty far from us.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but it's any contiguous municipalities have to be notified,
Okay.
so.
All right. Does anyone have anything on the various minutes of our various boards?
I had two questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay?
In the Park and Rec minutes, there was a reference to the board presentations being reduced from quarterly to twice a year. And in the body of it, it said that the other boards were going to begin to make presentations to council in the new year. I think that's a great idea. Is that true, or is that something that needs to be discussed?
I think that's something that needs to be discussed truthfully.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to go, they want to go from quarterly to semi-annual?
Yeah, twice a year.
Do we have to approve that?
No.
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
That's a lot of stuff to cover, but.
I think it would be helpful for the other boards to come periodically, just because I think it's nice for the members to have an opportunity
Okay.
to present or talk to council.
And you said you had two items?
I do. The second thing is related to Peters Creek Sanitary Authority minutes. There were two things in there that I have a question about. They referenced some issues with Ironwood, with problems with the sewer lines, the manhole covers, and then lot lines changing. My question to you, Mr. Zook, is when things like that are happening, does planning need to go back in and do we need to have reapproval to make sure variances are where they should be and the lot lines are, the acreage is still accurate? How do you follow up on things like that?
Well, any lot line changing requires a plan to be submitted to planning commission and council. And two, if a plan does come in, shifting lot lines in a plan, it's sent to Peters Creek Sanitary Authority to make sure that all their infrastructure and easements are in place. I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to. What exactly?
It's page 55 in our docket. I don't know where that would be for you. Yeah. Because when you look at you read the minutes and you see planning, and planning doesn't have anything about Ironwood, then you read that in Peters Creek Sanitary. And there's been other ones, and it just occurred to me, particularly because we've had issues with Ironwood about other things going on. So when I saw the comment about sewer lines and manhole covers and things like that, I wondered.
I will take a look at this and make sure that we're on the same page with them. It's saying that the manholes were raised without their knowledge?
Yeah. And again, because it's a conservation and because we've had the issues with the other stuff, I just wondered whether you were in the loop on that. The second thing about that, they make a reference, and this is just for information, apparently there's a plan done on Venetia in Nottingham that's being proposed to add 256 single-family homes down there. So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts Venetia Road and Bebout, because I imagine people will use that to get into different areas. So.
Okay. All right, anyone else?
I'll speak up since Park and Rec report on page 46 refers to a councilman that has been approaching them relative to e-bikes and the use of the trail. This is the councilman that's been doing that.
I think we guessed.
What I would tell you is what Michelle has said in there is not consistent with what is happening with the Montour Trail. They have approved them. She makes a statement that they can travel at speeds of 10 to 25 miles an hour without pedaling. That is not correct. And actually, the Montour Trail has decided to become in compliance with the standard regulations for the use of e-bikes, sort of as a national standard. And I'm encouraging the Park and Rec Board to lift the ban for our little part of the trail and allow them. And I guess I have to go to the next meeting if I can.
All right.
And I am a violator, so. I fell in love with them when I was in Europe, so they're tremendous.
They can be a lot of fun. Anyone else? All right, on to miscellaneous. Anyone have any miscellaneous issues?
Just a very quick reminder that we have upcoming council meetings next Monday night for the budget regarding the Rolling Hills project delineation and financing, and then on October 29th, our second budget workshop with department heads from the library, Parks and Rec, planning, and cable.
Okay.
I had two things, Mr. Chairman. Back in July, I asked about bidding professional contracts, and at the last budget meeting, I asked about that because there were some presumptions about projects going forward, and I wondered whether anything had been done about looking into that to try to get RFPs out or to talk to our existing people. The issue being that once we learn late in the year, we're already sort of stuck with continuing contracts based on what they offer, and I'd rather kind of know in advance.
Yeah, Paul and I, and Mark especially, we're going to sit down and talk about that in the next few weeks, actually. We're working right now with a bid for our liability and property insurance coverage, so one RFP at a time.
Okay.
Okay, and one last thing.
Yeah.
Several weeks ago, I asked you about what you knew. I sent an email to you and Mr. Lauer and Mr. Zook about Galley Road. The property there across from Lindenwood that kind of straddles North Strabane and Peters it was being graded, and now it's almost completely flat. And I wondered if we knew what was happening there, and I also wondered if you had learned anything more about the Cadillac dealership. I had heard they were putting a Guardian storage in there. And my concern was related to traffic, because we're talking about a light there at Waterdam. So Primrose is open and those two things are happening.
6,000 square foot veterinary office is what I hear is planned for that site in that's North Germain.
So just
You mean
one,
the old Township building?
No,
No.
there's
Cleared in area
there's
before
a new site being developed on Galley Road.
just,
Is that where the hotel was supposed to go?
No,
no. So is that strictly North Strabane
that's
property?
strictly North Germain.
Okay, so he just chunked it off at the end.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not an office building?
It's a veterinary clinic. Is what I'm
That's
looking
interesting.
for. I think somehow related to his veterinary clinic.
Oh, okay.
Thank God it's not a bank.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
My concern was, as I said, we had talked about a light there, and, you know, the more things that get constructed along there, it may come sooner than later. Thank you for the information.
All right, anyone else? Next agenda, anyone have any items? Well, if not, then this meeting is adjourned.